I need to shave myself because the beard is kind of in my way now. Anyway, how are you guys today? Welcome to my vlog. Now in today's vlog, as you probably can tell by the title already, I am going to talk about maintenance parts and stuff like that. Now this is a subjective kind of thing because it is about my bike. Therefore, obviously it's what I paid, and it can vary between different bikes, different usage and stuff like that. So it's just to give you an idea how much I spent on my bike during the 3 years. I owned it for more than 3 years, but I did the list quite a while back. And so it's a 3 years kind of a total of how much I paid for maintenance, how much I paid for parts and stuff like that. So it gives you an idea how much you will spend on maintenance and how much you can spend on parts, given you have a bigger bike or even a smaller bike, which I will explain later on. So first of all, I'll flash to you the maintenance kind of total I've come up with from all my kind of receipts and stuff like that. And now, as you can see, if I remember correctly, the total is like £340, £341 or something like that. So that is for 3 years. And the average is like £114, I think, around that much for the year, per year, basically. Now you'll see in the list I included stuff for cleaning. There's oils and stuff like that, so that you'll find coolant, oil, brake fluid, bike covers even, because I consider that maintenance. It's not a part. I consider that maintenance because it keeps your bike from rain and stuff like that, from dust. So it is considered to me as maintenance, a cover. Another thing is fluids of some sorts. That is maintenance. You change the fluids and stuff like that. Basically a year, every 2 years, or every specific mileage. What the hell happened here? Literally, what the hell happened here? I'm lost right now. What just happened? Okay, this guy is doing pictures. She's talking with him with the phone in hand. He's doing pictures of everyone. Okay, she has a problem with him taking pictures or something, I don't know. Okay, they have argument now. Alright, I have no idea what's going on. Why is she in slippers though? In like a nightgown and slippers. Don't tell me she actually drives like that, dude. I have no idea what's going on, man. It's just, can you just move to like the side street or something? Literally, what the hell is going on? I have no idea what just happened. I have literally no idea what just happened, man. Okay, he's turning around. Or she, I don't know. This guy's indicator is forever right. Oh, now he's left. Okay, so he is turning here. Wow, literally, I have no idea what just happened. And it's like in the middle of my vlog. It's like always happens like that, man. Something happens in the middle of my vlog, and it's just people don't let me do my vlog in peace. So I'm not gonna start from the beginning. Go. Dude, like seriously, man. You came out in the middle of the street and you're just like thinking, what am I supposed to do? It's like quick kind of, decision. I'm letting you go. Quick decision. You're going. That's it. Literally, I won't be able to record that vlog today, will I? In it. Okay. Let's focus on. Let's focus on the maintenance. Okay. Let's focus on the maintenance. Okay. So you see, I probably took down the graphic so you could see the thing, but okay, I'll put the list back on. Right. So that's what I pay for the maintenance. You see all sorts of different items. You have what's called coolants, oils, and stuff like that. Now I did change all of that myself, so I didn't pay a mechanic to do that. So therefore you won't see the cost of that, at least in the kind of like parts or whatever. But yeah, that is the cost I paid for only the fluids and like the parts. Like I think even included like helmet cleaner. I just included is £5, something like that. So altogether like £340 pretty much after 3 years of usage of using this bike and maintaining it. So it's oils, coolants, brake fluids, everything like that. And as I said, I changed that myself, so basically it's just the cost of those things. And I do suggest to everyone to actually do those basic things themselves, and I'll explain why in a moment and a while later actually. But I'll also show you a list of some tools that you will need, which are not very expensive if you want to do the basic stuff yourself. It's not difficult to do it. Oil changes and stuff like that, it's pretty simple. Cleaning your chain is also very crucial, but it's gonna prolong the life of your chain, obviously. And it's not difficult to do. But anyway, that's the maintenance that I paid. So that's the list. And as I said, it's about £114 a year to spend on cleaning products, on like changes for oil and stuff like that, and so on. So it's not bad. I consider it to be pretty cheap when it comes to a 650cc bike. It's not expensive. And even if you have a smaller bike, I suppose you can only save a bit on oil, because I have to change, my oil change is bigger because I have like 2.7 litre change. Whereas, for example, 125 has a litre change of oil, like a litre oil is enough to change the oil. Maybe you have to do it a bit more often. From what I remember, it's like every 2.5, sometimes 1,000 miles. I have every 3.5 thousand miles. So depends, kind of thing, you know. Depends on what your specification requires you to change the oil, when requires you to change the oil. But yeah, there is potential you can change. You can save on oil if you have a smaller bike, and also on coolant if you don't have a liquid cooled kind of engine. There are air-cooled engines. For example, CBF has air-cooled engine, and therefore you never have to buy coolant, you never have to worry about it, you don't have to worry about hoses, nothing. It's just air-cooled, and it's much cheaper compared to liquid-cooled because you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, like I said, it depends on what type of bike you have, the size of the bike, and how much you ride on it. Actually, if it's only social, then obviously you don't. Even though my specification says you have to change the oil, or not, you should change the oil every year. Even though if you even do, for example, 1,000 miles. For example, you did 1,000 miles only. I don't know if they're working. If you do 1,000 miles, it says every 12 months you should change the oil. In my opinion, you don't have to. If you do only 1,000 something miles in a year, you can just do another year with 1,000 something miles and then change the oil, because the oil is still alright, especially on older machines. But it's new, maybe it's a good thing to change the oil, because first of all, warranty. So you have to do the maintenance when you have to do the maintenance, obviously, to keep the kind of warranty and everything. But at the same time, it's new, so there may be some like kind of metal things because of the gears getting used to everything. But after 10 years, I suppose, nah, you don't have to do it every year. If you did only 1,000 miles, the oil is good for like 2.5 or 3,000. I don't think you should or you have to change the oil basically every year if you do small mileage kind of thing. No, don't go out. I'm coming here, mate. Check the indicators first. So that's pretty much about maintenance. I didn't pay that much if you consider this bike. It's a big bike, and I had to change oil a few times. I had to change the coolant a few times. You'll see that there's like 3 changes I had to do. One of them is because I was changing the hoses, but other than that, I wouldn't have to change it the 3rd time yet. But I did change it 3 times, so I'm pretty much free with my changes of coolant till, I don't know, 2024, something like that. So I don't have to bother with that for about 2 years, pretty much. So now we go to parts. Now in parts, and you will see the list, and I don't remember the whole list, but you will see the list. and inside you the total, from what I remember, is 1,452. I think that was the total of all the parts, services, everything, considering parts basically. So mechanic is there and stuff like that, replacement and so on. Everything is there, and that costed me £1,452 for 3 years. Now it is subjective because I had after an accident. It wasn't even an accident. I just literally fell off my bike during the cold weather. There was ice on the roundabout and I fell, and because of that I had to literally replace my throttle assembly and stuff like that. So that costed me, if I took away that from the list, that's already like 400-500 pounds off of that price, basically, that cost. So it's just, it depends on how lucky or unlucky you are, you know. Without that, as I said, it would cost me about £1,000 in parts for 3 years, and that includes like top box, the plate, adapter plate for the top box. So something you might not need, that's already £200 off that list. So if you have a look at that, and you will notice that some parts you might not need them during even 3 years of your owning the bike, and therefore your cost will be much smaller. Now obviously if you ride more, you will probably need tires at some point. you will need brake pads for sure at some point as well. So during 3 years, even if you ride, for example, 1,000 miles a year, still after 3 years, I think you will need to change your brake pads. Not only they're kind of old already, but you know, after 3,000 miles, yeah, maybe you will need to change them. Depends how you use the bike, how you use the brake. If you brake a lot, or if you slow down with your engine or whatever, or you just roll everywhere or something, you don't use your brake that much. If you're commuting or if you're not commuting, it depends on a lot of things, you know, when you have to change your brake pads. But like I said, this is the list that I had to do basically. And there are some mechanic fees in there, because I don't have the computer for my bike, therefore I had to go to a mechanic to figure out the faults and stuff like that, especially with the throttle assembly. So that is the biggest cost, I suppose, with the throttle assembly. But £1,400 it cost me for parts, and that includes like oil filters, air filters, all the sorts of parts that I had to change. What else is there? No fluids are there, I suppose, but like filters and stuff like that, all of that is in there. And any parts like crash banks, I think, are there because of the fall. So this is there. Just overtake that, and then we can continue. So yeah, as I say, in your 3 years of riding, doesn't matter on what bike, your cost may be much smaller or bigger. Depends how lucky or unlucky you are. As I said, it's a subjective list. But in general sense, you see a real life kind of costs and real life kind of expenditures based on the 3 years of my riding and what can happen and what type of parts and stuff I needed basically for this bike. So 1,400 that's what I paid. But as I say, you can have a look at the list and then figure out what you needed and stuff like that. If your list is bigger than that, or if you had pretty lucky, you know, years of it, it's just have to replace much, maybe just the filters and stuff like that. Everything else was pretty much good. So as I say, it depends really on how you ride, how lucky you are sometimes, and what's the state of your machine as well. That also plays a part in that, I suppose. So altogether, if you take all those together, the maintenance and the parts with all the labor and stuff like that, that's about £1,800 basically after 3 years. So yeah, these were my costs when it comes to maintenance and parts. But then I want to talk about the tools, because I am a proponent of doing these type of things, and I call them simple, and I understand some people may think, oh no, it's not simple, but indeed they are simple. These are simple jobs, like lubing your chain, cleaning and lubing your chain is a simple job. Changing your oil is a simple job. It's not something difficult, to be honest, guys. It really isn't. And I am a proponent of doing this yourself, because garages will charge you for that, and it can amount to large costs if you go to garage all the time, and sometimes the garages are not really very good. Now, if you have a very trustworthy and stuff like that garage, then yeah, some jobs can be done by them. And I'm not saying no, but at the same time, things like cleaning your chain or changing your oil or changing your brake fluid, these sorts of jobs I think you could do yourself. And I have a list of tools that you would need in order to work on your bike. Now, it's a basic set of tools. There are some more kind of not professional but specialized ones in that list. You will notice, because I'll post the list for you on the screen. But if you don't have any tools, it will cost you around 60 quid or something like that, or 70 quid, in order to buy everything that you need, everything basic that you need in order to work on your bike. And it's nothing major. It's nothing major, nothing amazing. The tools that I have for basic working on your bike, it's basically a socket with ratchet set, which costs around £20 from what I saw on the internet. It's a basic one. You don't have to have like a professional for 80 quid or anything like that. You can have a simple one just to work on your bike, just to take off some fairings, for example, or just to adjust the chain or something like that. A spanner set is another thing. Sometimes you just need a spanner. And another thing, it's not very expensive. If you buy a simple spanner set, which is like, I don't know, 15-20 pounds maximum, it's not very expensive. Another thing you will find on the list is a how's it called, brake bleeding kit, which is a very useful thing. Now, you can go to a garage, they will bleed your brakes for you, obviously, you will pay for that. But the brake bleeding kit is literally just like 15 pounds or something like that. And you can do it yourself. It's not difficult. And since the spanners are on the list, and I think you will need at least 8 or maybe 10, size 10, 8 or 10 size spanner for the bleeding nipple, it's very simple to do. It's not difficult. If you want to, I can do a video how to bleed your brakes. It's not difficult at all. But yeah, you can do it yourself for 15 pounds plus the spanners. You can bleed your own brakes. You don't have to go to a garage in order to do that. It doesn't require any specific knowledge to do that. It's really simple. It's not like some sort of black magic or anything like that. It's really simple thing. Okay, let's go. It's 40 anyways. Ooh. Brake. Wow, that is slow down, man. Wow, it stinks. So yeah, these are the kind of basic tools. I think there's one more thing I forgot to mention. Something might be in the list. Allen keys. Yeah, that's the one. Hex or Allen keys. Also cheap, but usually bikes have some sort of Allen key bolts and stuff like that. So you will need most probably Allen key set of some sort in order to take off the fairings or something. Also, a set of screwdrivers is a good thing to have. Like I said, the basic tools. You don't have to have like what's it called, drills, impact drivers, nothing like that. You don't have to have that. It's basic hand tools basically, and you can work on most of the things on your bike. Literally, on most of the things, you can pretty much deconstruct your bike with those tools. Literally. Spanners, ratchet set, like sockets and stuff like that, and hex keys. You can take off most stuff. You can do most of the things on your bike with those tools. Literally, it's that simple. So you don't need anything like extraordinary in order to work on your bike. And as I said, it's very simple. Oh, you're letting him go as well. It's very simple to work on your bike. So There are some other tools which are more kind of optional. One of them is, or one or two of them are more optional, and the others are kind of, if you want to do it yourself, don't want to pay for it, yeah, there is an option. But it's not necessary. You can go to a garage and they will do it for you as well. So what I'm talking about is the first of them is basically paddock stand. Now, if your bike doesn't require a paddock stand, well, obviously you don't need a paddock stand. It's that simple. Mine requires, therefore I need it. In order to work on the chain or take off the wheel, the real wheel, you have to have a paddock stand. Now, you don't have to have the paddock stand in order to work on the chain. You can do it without the paddock stand. You can clean your chain and lube your chain without the paddock stand. You just need more space because you will have to roll the back forwards and backwards to lube it. But it doesn't require you to buy a paddock stand if your bike requires that. It doesn't have, for example, the central stand, basically the main stand. If your bike doesn't have a main stand, yeah, obviously you have a choice. As I said, if you want to work on wheels and stuff like that, yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to have a paddock stand. But if you only want to lube your chain and stuff like that, for everything else you don't want to touch that kind of thing because you are afraid or something, and as I said, you shouldn't be afraid, then you don't need a paddock stand, because you can, if you have space, even do it on the street sometimes. If you have space, you can roll the bike forwards, clean it wherever necessary, so clean it a bit, roll it forwards a bit, clean it again, the part you didn't clean, couldn't access, and so on. And the same with lubing. So you just spray a bit, roll it forward, spray a bit, roll it forward, spray a bit, roll it and so on, until you spray the whole chain, basically. That's it. So you don't need a paddock stand for that, but I do work on my wheel sometimes, so I have to take the wheel off and so on. If you want to, for example, align the wheel, yeah, you have to have a paddock stand. You won't be able to do it on the ground pretty much, because your wheel will be sitting on the ground and therefore you cannot align the wheel. You have to have it up in the air, spinning freely and so on. You have to undo the bolt holding the wheel as well. So therefore, obviously you need a paddock stand for that. And as I said, it is an investment. It costs around £50, like I put it on the list. It costs around £50, but it's an investment you will use for pretty much many years. So I would suggest doing that if you require a paddock stand. Sometimes if you have, for example, smaller bikes, I think bigger bikes have that as well. It's just not every bike. But there is a central stand on the bike, and if you have a central stand, then hooray, you don't have to have a paddock stand really. Even for the front, you don't have to have that, because they usually pivot. So you can put some weight on the back wheel and work on the front wheel. On my brother's bike, for example, CBF 125, I could change the front wheel or something. I could work on the front wheel because I added just some weight on the back wheel and just work on that. It didn't have to have a paddock stand of any sort because it has a central stand. So in that regard, it's a very good thing. Because you don't have to have a specific tool in order to work on your bike. But big bikes, a lot of big bikes, and even smaller bikes, those that don't have the central stand, yeah, you will have to have a paddock stand. And as I said, it is an investment, because you will buy it once, but then you can use it for years. If you don't buy something dodgy, obviously. If you buy something dodgy, it may break after a year or two, I don't know. But I have the Oxford one. It's literally 4 years. It's been 4 years. It still works. I have no problem with it, and not much can go wrong with it. Maybe the bolts can get used or something like that. But if you don't take it apart, and I do take it apart, so if you don't take it apart, I mean, it can last forever, pretty much, because it's gonna be assembled all the time, and it's just to hide it and take it out when you need it. That's it. I do take it apart because just to save space. But yeah, I've been taking it apart and assembling it many times, and it still works. So don't have a problem with that. Like I said, it's been 4 years. So that's one thing, one tool. Let's call it a tool. I would suggest for people to buy, and you can do a lot of maintenance by yourself when you have that tool. So it's a good thing. If your bike requires that, obviously. If you have a central stand, yeah, you don't need that baloney with paddock stand. You just use your central stand for everything, for cleaning your chain, for lubing your chain, for taking off the wheels. Anything you want, you can do with a central stand. That's why they're so great to have on the bike. Another tool in there is the chain riveter and breaker, chain breaker and riveter. Now that's very optional tool. I don't have it. For example, I don't have a chain riveter and chain kind of breaker. I don't have that. So it is really optional. I literally just changed my chain on this bike. Never. So I didn't change a chain on this bike, I think, ever. I changed on the previous one, on my CBF. I did change the chain over there, but on this bike I haven't changed the chain yet. Didn't have to. So as you can see, after almost 4 years, I'm still fine. So that's why I don't buy that tool. It's not because I cannot change my chain myself. I just don't have the tool, and I don't really intend to buy that. I just go to a garage, pay £50, they change my chain, sprockets, and it's the same amount of cost as for like the proper. It's like you can buy for 30 quid that chain brake and riveter, but you can buy also more expensive ones that will last you a bit, maybe longer or something, that more sturdy kind of thing. And I'd say, it's 50 quid as well. So I don't do it often. If you have a few bikes, yeah, I would. If I had like 3 bikes, for example, I would buy that tool. And I don't have a problem with like grinder or anything, because I have these type of tools. So you have to also remember that besides buying the chain riveter and breaker, you need some kind of a tool, a rotary tool, like grinder, like angle grinder, or some kind of Dremel or something, in order to grind the pins. The what's it called? Is it the pins? The rivets, basically, yeah. You need to grind them down before you can extract them. So you need to grind them. So that's another. It depends on what you're gonna buy, but it can cost you a grinder or something, maybe used one, maybe £30 or something. But it can also cost you around £50. It depends really what you're gonna buy. So altogether, you pay quite a bit. And if you don't intend to keep your bike like forever, I don't think that's the cost, because your chain can last you even 12,000 miles. So it depends on how much you ride, I suppose. Because if you ride a lot, if you commute a lot and it's long distances, yeah, probably that chain riveter and breaker wouldn't be a bad idea, and some kind of tool to grind the chain with, the chain. That wouldn't be a bad idea, because changing it would, using the garage would be more expensive with time. But as I said, I haven't changed the chain on this bike yet, and yeah, I will have to change it, but it's like I'll pay it once, and after I'll have have it off my head for another 4 or 5 years or whatever, and I'll have to worry about that for a long time. 12, maybe even more thousand miles, I don't remember, but it's like a lot of miles you can do on the chain if you maintain it properly and so on. Where you going, mate? Great job, mate. Okay. So yeah, I think I've exhausted the topic quite a lot. I will have to cut it down a bit, probably, because it's like very long. So I will just pick and choose the sections I want to talk about, and just cut it down a bit so that it's kind of watchable. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you got some kind of idea how much it can cost you to maintain a bike, and how much it can cost you in parts and so on. So that you can kind of budget yourself, or if you are buying a bigger bike, you have a small bike and you're buying a bigger bike, you can kind of see how much you might be spending on that. and so on. So kind of how much maintenance can cost of a big bike. If you want to clean it properly, you can maintain it properly and stuff like that. You know, you want to change the oils when necessary and so on. You'll notice how much it can cost you per year, pretty much, with cleaning products, with oils, and stuff like that. You know, coolants and so on. And also the parts. You know, if something happens, how much the parts can cost, how much mechanic can cost, kind of thing. Like I said, I pay 50 quid around for the mechanic. I would pay 50 quid per hour, basically. So it's not cheap. It's not expensive, in my opinion, but it's not cheap either. And like I said, if you have trivial jobs, I wouldn't go to a mechanic and bother that. So literally just do it myself. Especially since the tools required are not very what's it called, sophisticated, let's call it like that. Anyway, I'm not gonna rant any longer. I hope this helps you up somehow, and you'll get a better idea how much you spend and stuff like that on a bigger bike, and maybe you can extrapolate that onto a smaller bike as well, because you'll spend less on this, on that. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. As always, do visit in the future if you like and subscribe and stuff like that. As always, on YouTube, I'd appreciate that. It's like the usual message kind of thing. Everyone says subscribe, share, and like and so on. So you know the drill, I suppose. And I will see you in my next vlog video, whatever it might be. Don't know what else it will be, but something, to be honest. So I will see you then, and have a nice one. Stay safe, have fun, and blast out.